happened to me, and I kind of felt like I was stuck in the rat race, like a hamster in a hamster wheel. Can anyone relate with that?
Yes.
And the one thing that I say sometimes that I thought differently was I believe that there had to be something better than just that. And I believe that there was still an American dream available somewhere out there. I just had to find it. And it was very weird because I seemed to be one of the only people around me who thought that way. And so, because do you guys realize that, well, have you ever noticed, or you're living your life and you feel like you're surrounded by zombies?
Yes.
I felt like that all too often. And so, I kept my ear open to something, and at the time I was working at Coffee Bean, and I was also going to school full time, so doing both of those at the same time. I was also in a band. That's what brought me here. Except everyone in the band thought we all thought that we were Green Day, but we never played one show. So we weren't Green Day, and it was kind of a frustrating thing to be in a band where they're more likely to just drink too much than to actually practice. So, and not me, of course. I was just trying to play music.
Of course not.
I found myself stuck, and then after a couple of years of living here, I actually got into debt, and it was kind of tough. And actually, someone from one of my classes in college introduced me to this business. And there's a little bit of training, I guess, in how he introduced me. Do you guys want to know how he introduced me?
Yes.
Sure. Okay. So it was actually this DVD right here. Of course, an older version, but it's two elements. It wasn't just the DVD. It was also the fact that he was a cool person that I could relate with, that I liked. And I didn't actually know him. See, a lot of the time, who here was introduced? Raise your hand if you were introduced by someone that you knew pretty well to this business. So, let's see. How about those of you, you've introduced to someone you didn't know too well, maybe it was a stranger or something. Seems to be about 50-50. So, for me, it was kind of a stranger. What we had in common was that we were in class together. And he handed me this DVD. Actually, it wasn't so much that. I'll tell you how we related. I lived in Israel for 7 years, and his family's from Israel. And then we spoke Hebrew, so that was a connection. And then it turns out we knew the same people in Israel, like the same friends. Such a small world. So also the music connection. He was a DJ. And I play guitar and sing, and so right away we liked each other. We had stuff to talk about. So that's a clue if you want to be a good recruiter, is find people who have things in common with you. And it's a lot easier to connect with people that way. Okay, and so that's for, of course, cold market. And so we almost became warm market instantly. And I basically watched a DVD and made a lot of sense. Made $500 because of the information that's being trained on in the other room. It's actually kind of a novel thing, novel idea. I actually applied what they taught in that room. Unlike 99% of the people who were in the room with me at my basic training, and so I was, I guess, I don't know why. To me, it was just enough to hear that's what I need to do, so I'll do it. And so that $500. My first month, I signed up my mom and a friend of mine, a co-worker, someone from Coffee Bean, another girl that was in the same class as us in the astronomy class, and then somebody else, and that's how I made about $500. And so, actually, funny story, I signed up with who I thought was one of my best friends at the time when I was brand new, and he actually ended up, once he signed up, I never heard from him ever again. It's really weird. So, you laughed too early. So it was weird. And so it was because, actually, I really don't know why. I don't know why he never answered again. In fact, I would leave him messages. And in these messages, I would say, like, hey, don't worry about legal shield. I don't really care. Just call me back. I want to make sure you're okay. I never heard from him ever again. So,
That's so sad.
But no, he didn't die because I bumped into his brother years later. And his brother said he's fine. So then I wish he died. I wasn't supposed to be funny. Okay. So why am I sharing that? There's a point. Is people are weird.
Yes.
sometimes you think you know people and you don't.
Right.
And so it's just the name of the game. So I kept going in the business, and I'm giving you the long version of my story because I think there's, you guys want to know the journey, right?
Right.
Yes.
So, I mean, it has been 7 years since I got started, so I was 13 years old. No, I was 20. And I was kind of bumping along in the business, making, a few hundred here, a few thousand there, but I kind of felt stuck at a certain point in the business. And it was somewhere around my 5th month where I realized something. I realized that it was actually thanks to going to a convention. There was a billionaire on stage who said some things, and he helped me realize, and I'll say this to you guys, that there's no scarcity that exists in nature. I mean, think about it. How many fish are in the sea?
So many.
You can't count it. How many stars are in the sky?
So
Unlimited, right? So you guys, I mean, you're beings of nature. You know that, right? So the limitations that hinder your progress are not a part of the universe around you. They're strictly imaginary. You place them on yourself with your own mind.
Mm-hmm.
And, you're hearing this from me, which is cute. I heard it from a billionaire on stage. So my rationale was, if I question what he's saying, I'm stupid, so I'm not. I'm going to accept it. And I did that, and something changed for me. I did basically a lot more activity, too. I did the 10 core commitments on steroids, is what I call it. I'll get into the 10 core commitments in a bit. But I wound up going from never having more than maybe 3 sales or 5 sales in a single month in my organization to 90 days from that. So about around my 9th month, we did over 77 sales.
Wow.
And I never went below that, and I went executive director and so on and so forth. And so I share that to share that, some people, that awakening moment happens right away when they get started. Some people, it takes them 6 months. Some people, it takes them a few years. But it doesn't matter. You can decide that could be this training here tonight. It could be whenever it is that you're ready to really be that one person. Because when I went to that convention, everyone was very, very motivated after that convention. And I remember distinctly being on the bus ride back from the convention, and everyone on the bus was like, oh, I'm going to the top, I'm going to hour 20, I'm going, executive director. And I looked around at the bus and I'm like, wait, I remember that in basic training, everyone said that they're going to get promoted, but most people quit. So that means that everyone on this bus that's saying that they're going to go executive director is not going to go executive director. Mm-hmm. And that kind of pissed me off. I'm like, I'll be darned if I'll be one of those people who says they're going to do it and doesn't do it. So that's one of the things that motivated me. I had different things in my circumstances that really drove me to get it done. And I had my first $5,000 a month at that point. Continued on with the business, and it's just been an incredible journey of learning. Starting this business at the age of 20 without any business background, not really knowing how to lead people. This is a leadership game, and just being able to grow I pretty much grew up in this business, which is amazing. And now being able to, I'll share with you a kind of interesting. I had an interesting year this year. I got injured and I couldn't talk for a few months this year, and then I started talking a little bit, but I was only talking about 10-20% of my ability. I was kind of quiet, but during those months where I couldn't talk, I mean, think about it right now with what you do for work. What would happen to your job if that happened to you, right?
Yeah.
You'd probably, make no money. And what happened with me is my income didn't skip a beat. And somehow I managed to stay in Performance Club, but it was like a miracle. But what happened, so I started getting a little bit better, and once I got a little better, I took a month off and traveled to Israel. My cousin got married in Israel. And while I was gone for that month, I had my biggest month this year. So what does that show you? You guys should clap for Legal Shield because of that.
Yes.
It shows you that it's amazing, because what you have the opportunity to build here is something that will really, if you take care of business, this business will take care of you. Mm-hmm. And it's just great, because I'm just even more motivated to continue to take it to the next level knowing that this really is something that you can build, that's yours, and it can take care of you. Because I love what Brian Carruthers says. What happens if you get sick or want to retire, or whatever it is, don't want to work anymore, want to travel? What's going to happen to your income? And so my rationale, actually, this was my rationale from the beginning. It was, even if I don't really like doing this business, what else am I going to do that's going to give me time freedom and financial freedom? Mm-hmm. And it's become more than that. I really fallen in love with the service and what the company stands for and all of that. But, so what I figured out was, okay, so even if this business is hard, right, I think that's one of the problems that we have in general with society is people judge things too much based on whether or not things are hard. They should do it. But I don't think that's how we should judge things. We should judge things based on what is the outcome and is it worth it. And so that's how I judged it. I said, even if it's hard, I'm going to get good at something, right? Mm-hmm. Are you guys going to get good at something?
Yep.
So why not get good at something that will really take care of your future? And, because getting good, it's kind of like, I'll give you this example. I just started surfing. And does anyone surf here? No? Oh,
hardly.
Yes. Lois over there, she gave me some tips. But, it's very, I found it such a metaphor for this business because it's so awkward in the beginning. Like surfing, I mean, those waves just come crashing at you, your relatives come crashing at you. And, every now and then you feel like you're going to catch a wave and then your best friend doesn't answer your phone call anymore, right? And you have to handle a lot of rejection, and you have to swallow a lot of salt water. But I'm pretty sure because I have a vision of where this business is going to take me, I have a vision of where this wave is going to take me. I'm willing to go through that. I'm willing to get tossed around underneath a wave, and because I know that the freedom I'm going to feel, I have a vision of what that's going to cause. So that's what I want to talk to you all about right now, which is what is your vision, and is it strong? Because if that vision is not strong, then there's only so many times you're going to be willing to paddle out there, before you're just like, what, it's not worth it. And so, actually, I'll just share this to you guys, because I found such a metaphor with surfing and how it was for me getting started in this business. I started a blog. It's called Yarden's Journey.blogspot.com. And you can see every time I go surfing, I'm gonna post on there, and it'll be such a metaphor to what those of you that are maybe on the other side or still trying to swim, to get to the point where you're above water in your Legal Shield business. Because I remember being on the other side of the wave. I remember in Legal Shield where I had to struggle, and it wasn't easy, And most of the struggles were because of me, because of the person I was, or the person I wasn't yet, the person I was becoming. And I'll tell you what, it's been the most amazing journey. And so far, surfing has been a very tough journey. But with this business, I wouldn't give up any of the challenges I went through for anything, because that's really what it's all about. Success is the journey. Success is not just the destination. And so I want to get to my clicker.